Hey, welcome to Luke 2:52. We're glad that you're here. This is Bo and I'm Dennis, and we want to thank you for listening here with us every single week. But also we want to thank you for sharing. I mean, we had a goal of 24 shares. I think we hit 28.
28, excellent.
So thank you. We appreciate that. Do it again tonight. We also want to, we have every Monday night at 7 o'clock, we have a workout at Dual Threat.
Yeah, we'd like to invite you out 7 o'clock. It's just an interval training, cross-training type workout. Just get you off the couch.
That's it. We'd love to see you. Hey, Luke 2:52, you will hear this 1,000 times. It says this: Jesus grew in wisdom and stature with favor and God and man. He grew in all four areas. And what we want to talk on here tonight is how Jesus grew with men in relationship. Yep. And so what we decided here tonight, we're going to look at the foundation of a strong family. And basically, we've both been married over 30-something years. Yep. And I don't think marriage gets any easier, does it, Bo?
Absolutely not. Every day is a challenge.
But it is good. It is good. And what we want to do is just say this. We kind of believe when it comes to the family, when it comes to marriage, when it comes to raising kids, man, family is under attack. I mean, there's no doubt about it. And what we're trying to say is it's hard. It's nothing easy about raising kids. I think, Bo, what you got, 4 kids going?
Yeah, 4 kids. I feel like I had a pretty good run at it. 4 great, wonderful kids. It turned out really good.
And that kind of goes to say we kind of believe as the family goes, so goes our nation. And there are things sometimes in our life when it comes to family, there are things that dominates our lives or they control our lives. Sometimes, when the pressure of paying bills and different things like that, our career dominates our lives. Mm-hmm. How many times have you had to work extra hours, Bo? All the time?
Manufacturing, a lot of times you work shift work, and every week seems like it's a 60-hour week or 70 hours. It just really dominates your life, and it can take your family from you.
That's right.
You have to be careful with that.
And not only with careers, but also hobbies. I can remember when we was early in our marriage, I loved softball. Softball kind of controlled what I thought about, what I did with my time. I tried to play in the church league. Then I found a good team to play in the city league. And then that team ended up playing every Friday, Saturday, Sunday for a long time. But after a couple years, I had to decide, hey, do I want to play softball or do I want to get married? I think I made the right decision.
I think you did.
So there we go.
Families, I think, are falling apart because they're built on the wrong foundations. When I was little, I worked with my granddad. He was a carpenter. Growing up, my dad was a carpenter. So basically, I've been trained as a carpenter. They always taught me that your foundation has to be wider and deeper than the code if you want to stand the test of time. And that goes really deep for us in our ministry.
Yeah, and that's what we want to kind of talk about here today. There's this thing that I really believe is so important. If you want to have a strong family, if you want to have a strong marriage, I really believe that God has to be first. And it's basic, it's simple, but it's so true. And what I want to do is kind of touch on that acrostic. Is first. F is going to be our finances. Okay. If you're really sitting there here today and you see that and you're going, oh man, yeah, we have so many arguments in our relationship with my wife and our children over what? Finances, yeah. Over debt. Those kind of things, man, can destroy relationships. But also we got to look at the I, and it's our interest, the things that we're passionate about doing.
Takes us in different directions as a family.
That's right.
And we lose each other.
And I think one of the key things to do is to find out each other's interests, but try to tie them in together that where you're spending more time together and less time apart. But also we look at the R, and we're looking at relationships. That's so critical. Selfishness, I think, a lot of times has a way of working into those relationships, whether it's the father-child or the husband or the wife. And sometimes you got to put yourself aside and say, you know what, what do you want to do? Where do you
Yeah.
want to go? And that's not always easy. But also, we got to look at our schedule. And in today's world, just like your schedule, we was talking about this before. What's your schedule look like, Bo?
It is from the time I get up, at 5 a.m. till 9 o'clock at night. I'm solid.
Solid. Every single night.
Day. Every day, every night.
And so that's where we got to say, you know what? Is God first in my schedule? Is He first in my relationships? Is He first in my interests, and especially my finances? And the last thing is this, is troubles.
Yeah.
If you're living today, if you're breathing today, listen, you're going to have troubles. You're going to have those difficult times in your life. And the one thing you got to do is, who do you turn to? Who do you trust? Who do you go to talk with? And that's why I want to say here today is this, man, don't let prayer be your last resort. And I think that's what I know I do a lot of times is I try this, I try that, I try to work it out, and then let's turn to prayer. So
I'll tell you, Dennis, I've always felt like I was not really, good enough in all these 5 categories: finance, interest, relationship, schedule, trouble. Anyway, I always felt like I was short, and I just never felt like I was living up to the standard that, I don't know who set standards for people, but I was always short of that standard. But I'll tell you, in the, later years, or, maybe the past 5, 10, 15 years, I've just released all that to God. And I don't worry anymore. If God wants me to have extra finance for something, then He'll provide it. If He wants me to be interested in something, He'll create that interest in me. If it's a relationship and He wants me, He'll let me know that I'm not spending time in that relationship. If my schedule's too busy, He'll take me down.
Yeah.
He won't allow me to be physically strong enough to maintain that schedule. He'll change my life so that schedule changes. And troubles, if I don't think I have enough trouble in my life, He'll put some more in there. But I release my life to God, and now I feel like I measure up in all these categories.
I think that's a great point right there, Bo, is just releasing everything to God, trusting Him with it. And when we begin to put God first, that's going to be that attitude. And we're going to close with this one question. How do you know when God is first in your life? I read this the other day and I thought it was so good. It says, when you stop worrying.
Yeah.
And it went on to say that worrying is that warning light that God is not first. So is there worry in your life? Are you being stressed out? Then that's when you got to stop and say, you know what, God, I got all this going on. Right now, I just want to release that to you, and I trust you with it. And just leave it with Him. It sounds pretty easy, and it is, but it takes a little trust. It takes working on. So build that right foundation, okay? And that will help that family unit. All right? Here we go, Luke 2:52. We want to thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Hit the share button. Luke 2:52 .net.
See you next week.
All right, bye.